Hello friends, Ben Ochart here. Thank you for tuning in. There are two fish in the tank behind me here that are defying the odds. They really shouldn't be in this tank. And if you'd asked me a couple years ago, can I put these two fish in with the fish that you have in that large tank, I would have said, no, don't do that. It's not a good idea. But these fish seem to be holding their own and thriving. Let's go ahead and get into it right now. Hey, if you're new to the channel and you like the content of this video, consider hitting that subscribe button, the bell, the thumbs up, and let's keep the channel growing. We're real close to 50,000, and thank you if you have already subscribed, and if you haven't and you like the content, consider doing so. Thanks a lot. Let's get into the topic. So the first of the two fish that I'm talking about is the Lethanops oculatus. I've had Lethanops before. I've had red cap and marginitas and other types of Lethanops, and based on my experience with them, on their temperament that I observed in the past, I would have never put them in a tank with predators, with large Nimbochromis, your giraffe haps, right? Your Venusis, your Fusco, your living stone eye. I would not have suggested putting a fish in, putting a Lethanops in a tank with fish like that. But this fish is holding his own, and he does, like the other fish I'm going to talk about, he does tend to kind of stay out of the way of other fish. He doesn't really engage. He kind of keeps to his own, but he's able to survive and be pretty much ignored by the other fish. Is he living under a little bit of stress? Well, he's probably under a little bit more stress than maybe the alpha or the dominant fish would be, but he doesn't seem to be really bothered. He seems calm. He doesn't clasp his fins. He's not hiding in the corner. He's not acting cowed or extremely subdominant. And his colors are good, his activity level is high, he participates right in the middle of feeding, so he's just a fish that is off the radar of the other fish. They don't see him as a threat. They don't, maybe he's so different that in his appearance, his colors, his shape, that he's not really looked upon as a threat by the other fish, and so they just let him be. Now, can this change over time? It might. This fish gets to about 7 inches or so, and when the other fish start to get up over 10 inches, the fish in particular like your Malawi trouts, the Nimbochromis, other fish that are in here, the sand diver, the eye biter, the hawk, fish like that start to get up around 10 inches or so, right? I may get to a point where I might have to pull those fish out just as a safeguard, but for now, they seem to be ignored and doing fine. There might be other factors involved. The fact that there are a fair number of fish, certainly not what you'd call an overstocked tank, but there are a fair number of fish in the tank, and they are well fed, twice a day. So it's not like they're in a bad mood or something. But he seems to be getting along fine, and reminds me a lot of that bicolor 500 that's in here, who's going to max out at about 5 inches, and that's going to be an interesting challenge in another 6 months to a year as the other fish put on more size. The other fish I want to talk with you about is a Navochromis chrysogaster. I want to pronounce that correctly. Navochromis chrysogaster. And this is a more of a rare Malawi cichlid, and you don't see them too often. You usually have to special order them if you want one. The Lethanops are a bit more common, and you don't see these chrysogasters. And of course, both of these fish I picked up from the Cichlid Shack over in Tempe, Arizona. But this fish is going to get to about roughly a little over 5 inches. He's going to stay a little smaller. He's going to be a little bit more like that bicolor 500, and so it'll be even a more interesting situation as the other fish put on size. Just like the Lethrinops, he does tend to stay out of the way of the other fish. He just doesn't get into it with them. They don't get into it with him. And as you can see, his colors are great. He eats very aggressively, so he's not cowed, he's not super subdominant, and he's actually doing very well in the tank. So these are 2 fish that are currently defying the odds in my tank, and I guess I'd have to include the bicolor 500 also in that group, because it's a peacock, and it's been thrown in with a bunch of haps and is not really going to be that big, and is usually by nature very, very timid, and it also is able to stay off the radar of the more traditionally aggressive fish, again, like your Nimbochromis and your hawks, your eye biters. It just stays out of their way, and as a result really has no fin damage, and eats well, great color. And so I guess I've got 3 fish that are defying the odds in this tank, and I hope, knock on wood, right, that I hope it continues to go well, and as the other fish put on size, they just continue to see that fish as a non-threatening tank mate. So what are your thoughts? Have you kept fish together that normally the word is that they shouldn't be kept together because of size or aggressiveness, and found that they got along fine? If you have, comment below. I'd like to hear your thoughts on your experience in situations like this, and also what you think about this combination of fish and where you think things are going to go in the next 6 months to a year. It's going to be an interesting transition to watch. All right, so that's it for me, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will be starting up in January 2023 again on the live stream, so join me for those. Cichlids and Coffee, Saturdays at 11 a.m. Central. And if you'd like to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell and that thumbs up. And to support it one step further, consider becoming a member of the Garage Gang and becoming a monthly Patreon supporter. Starts for as little as $3 a month, and the details are in the description under the video. Thank you, my friends. You're the best. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.